So you're watching all of these plant-based success stories and watching how seemingly easy it is for people to lose weight on this diet and wondering what's wrong with me? I keep trying and failing. What am I doing wrong? What are they doing differently? But the truth is, these people didn't get to their success without overcoming a lot of hurdles. So before you get too discouraged and throw in the towel, you need to know 4 common traps of transitioning to a plant-based diet to lose weight and how to overcome them. And that's exactly what we'll be discussing in this video. So the first common trap is the health halo. This is a marketing ploy that advertisers use to make a product seem more healthful than it actually is. There is very loose regulation and restrictions around the types of words they can use describing a healthful product. Things like natural and sugar-free and high protein and low fat, these things aren't always what they seem. So you have to really dig deep and learn what is actually in this product and what is it providing me. But also remember, just because something says organic or vegan or gluten-free, that's not synonymous with healthy. So make sure you are looking at that ingredients list very carefully and reading what kind of levels of saturated fat and added sugars and sodium. All of those bits of information are going to be helpful when it comes to choosing healthful products, truly healthful products, not just ones that seem healthful. So these are pretty much anything in a health food store that's not produce. Your healthy snacks and your granola bars and your protein bars and your cereals and your cheeses and your yogurts and all the different ice creams and treats that are laid out and advertised towards people who don't consume animal products, or people who strive to eat more protein, or people who strive to eat all organic. They are constructing their advertising technique solely around you. You'll also see this with diet foods. So like Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem, all of these different, not to call out any names, all of these different companies that will package up a bunch of junk and sell it to you as high protein or what's the term, a fueling, or all of these different phrases that seem like they're supposed to go in your body. That stuff is just as junky as the processed items in the grocery store. The potato chips, the candies, the cookies, all of these things are not meant to be in our body. Be an informed consumer, read your ingredients list, or even better, just buy real healthy food, like everything that you'll find in the produce section, or whole grains, legumes, starches, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs and spices. All of these things are going to be very healthful for losing weight on a plant-based diet. Those other packaged goods that claim to be healthful, leave them alone. The next common trap is when food manufacturers exploit the deficiency stigma. So this is when people have this misconception that a plant-based diet is somehow lacking in something and that you need to make up for it by buying either enriched foods or a ton of supplements. So this could be anything from where do you get your protein or your calcium or your iron, or fill in the blank. Just know that plants are where these things originate from in the first place. You do not need to eat animals in order to get your vitamins and minerals, because animals get their vitamins and minerals from the ones that they don't make internally, endogenously, from the soil. So instead of eating your vitamins and minerals secondarily through an animal source, you can just get them directly from the source in the first place and eat the plants. Plants have all of the essential amino acids. We only need 9 in the first place, so there's no reason to go seeking out additional amounts of protein. They also have plenty of calcium, because calcium is a mineral as well as iron that comes from the ground. We do not need heme iron, which comes strictly from animal products because it is more oxidative and harmful to our tissues. We only need finite amounts of these things, not the large quantities that our society tends to make us feel that we do need. We are creatures of habit, and in the majority of our natural history, we have had to worry about deficiencies and starvation. But now that we are in this environment of abundance, we don't have that problem anymore, so we can just let it go. I know that's difficult to do because we're kind of hardwired that way, but just know in the back of your mind, rest assured, you're getting enough. If you're eating a wide variety of all the different plant foods, you're getting enough of all of these things. The only thing that you need to be concerned about is B12. That is the one vitamin that is non-negotiable. It is made from the microorganisms in the soil. So we used to get it regularly by eating our plant foods simply because we didn't used to wash our food. Now that we are very sanitary and we're cleaning our water supply as well, we are no longer getting those microbes into our system. So B12 is a non-negotiable. We do need to supplement with that, but we don't need to take care of all of these other vitamins and minerals that the food manufacturers tend to enrich their products with in order to make them appear, again, more healthful. So just be mindful and informed as a consumer when it comes to purchasing these not so healthful items. I know it's very difficult to transition from your old familiar foods to this new way of eating, but it's going to be so much more likely that you will succeed if you do it in a way that is sustainable. If you're trying to eat all these unhealthful packaged goods, you're going to continue to see a lack of results week after week after week, as opposed to just eating real food and then noticing the wonderful health benefits that you almost immediately will respond to, that your body will respond to. You also don't have to worry about the soil being depleted, because if the soil was so depleted, the plants wouldn't grow in the first place, because the plants need those things just as much as we do when we consume them to extract those nutrients into our body and assimilate them accordingly. So don't be concerned about that myth. The other thing you want to be aware of when it comes to enriched foods is, why on earth do they need to enrich them in the first place? Why don't we just eat food that already had those components in the structure in the first place? So if they are enriching something, it's usually because they had to take something out and then insert something more shelf stable and appealing to the masses. Another thing you don't need to worry about is replacing milk with plant-based milks. They're perfectly healthful if you want to drink your calories. Not that I recommend that if you're trying to lose weight. But when it comes to weaning ourselves off of milk when we're infants, that's really the last time that we need to drink milk. So continuing to feel the compulsion, the obligation to drink that year after year after year as you age is not necessary, and it's very much socialized. So just let the plant milks go if you absolutely don't need them, because those, again, are highly enriched and full of carrageenan and guar and oil and salt and all kinds of things that you would never think to find in a food product of any kind. The third common trap that I often see when people try to transition to a plant-based diet is the myth that you can eat as much as you want. Yes, you can eat significantly more food than you had when you were consuming a ton of animal products or processed foods, but you still need to stay within your daily caloric needs. So anytime we eat something outside of what our body needs to burn every day, it's going to be stored for energy. We cannot live on just fruits and vegetables because they're so low in calories. Our body will cry out for greater calorie density foods. So things like whole grains and starchy vegetables and legumes, those are going to be the bread and butter of your diet. And then the fruits and vegetables, although you're going to eat in abundance of them, they are more on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to the calorie density. So yes, you can eat a greater abundance of the fruits and vegetables than you can of the starchy vegetables, whole grains, and legumes and nuts and seeds, but you have to do it within reason in order to be able to fit those other foods in your stomach, because there is so much fiber in these plant foods. You have to be really cognizant about what you're taking in on any given day. This diet needs to be very well planned, just like any healthful diet. So all you really need to do is follow the principles of calorie density, and you can perfectly well figure out what portion of each category of plant-based foods you should be taking in on a given day. So you start at the lower end of the spectrum with about 100 calories per pound of vegetables, and then about 200 to 300 for fruit, and then up to 350, 400 for the for the starchy veggies, and then into the higher quantities with the whole grains and the legumes. But it's always under 600 calories when you're eating those components. If you venture out into the higher fat foods like the avocados, the coconuts, the nuts, the seeds, those things are going to be able to be eaten in much smaller quantities. So as long as you follow that general hierarchy of calorie density, you can't go wrong. Super easy stuff once you get the hang of it. Just practice and it'll come naturally in a couple weeks, I promise. Number 4 may be the most important trap to be aware of. And that's the tendency for people to swap old familiar favorites with new plant-based versions. So this is like giving up your old meat-based burger for an Impossible Burger, or your old brownies for your black bean brownies, and your dairy cheese and ice cream and yogurt for soy versions, or highly saturated fat-filled versions. You have to be super careful and cognizant about what it is that is in the packaging of these foods. If you flip them over and read the ingredients, I promise you, you will not be attracted to these foods. These foods will not seem appealing any longer. High concentrations of pea protein actually mimics that of a type of burger. For instance, the Impossible Burger makes it a point to use about the same quantity of protein through powdered pea protein to mimic the same effect that you would get from eating a meat-based burger. So this actually has a similar impact in the body on your IGF-1. So just be aware that even though these are chemically different, they can be metabolized in a similar fashion. These foods ultimately should just be a stepping stone. They should help you get from point A to point B. If you need to use these foods temporarily in order to continue your process moving upward towards a whole, unrefined plant-based diet, then that's perfectly fine. Just don't get stuck in that transition, because so many people do. And you get accustomed to your new cheeses and your new burgers and your new brownies and your new cookies, and it's very difficult to move on to the next step, because it's a big step, because these foods are not much better than the old versions that you were eating. Moving from unhealthy to slightly healthier is not going to move the needle on your scale, nor improve any aspect of your health. So again, we just want to use these as transition foods on our way to the whole unrefined plant foods. Don't get stuck in this trap. It's a big one. All right, guys, I have a super exciting offer I've been working on for months to roll out for you guys today. It is the Optimized Nutrition Plan, and it is the full gamut when it comes to all the assistance you're going to need getting from point A to point B on a plant-based diet to help you lose weight and regain your health. And if you want to dive right in, the cart will be open from the 23rd of January to the 27th, and the class starts on the 30th. So make sure you watch your emails for more information on that if you are on my email list. Or if you're not on my email list but you'd like to be, there's another link for that in the description box below as well. So again, be watching your emails for exciting information and news about that rollout. This is a very difficult problem for people to solve. And there is no shame in asking for somebody to guide you through the process who's already done it and does this for a living. So absolutely, if you need that additional support and guidance and accountability when it comes to making this big leap, then by all means, sign up for this program. You will not forget it. It'll be the best New Year's resolution that you've ever accomplished. Losing weight around the first of the year is on everybody's mind, but it doesn't have to be yet another year that rolls through with you out accomplishing that weight loss goal. And regaining your health. That is the wonderful part about a plant-based diet. You not only get that lean body, you get that lean, healthy body. Our society is clearly set up for people to fail at this. That is why there are these common traps. That's why you are deceived every time you buy a seemingly healthful product that's actually causing you to go 2 steps backwards every time you think you're going 4 steps forward. These foods are everywhere, so it is no surprise that so many people are having difficulties overcoming this problem. And you're definitely in the right place if you're trying to do it with a plant-based diet, because inevitably that's what's going to be sustainable in the long term. You don't want one of these awful fad diets that are going to give you these nasty packaged junk foods and send you on your way. All right, guys, that's my rant. I hope to work with you face to face soon. I'll see you in the next one.